All right, and there we are. A very disappointing night for LSU fans as LSU did what we thought was possible in a lot of our discussions during the week. And no matter how much I'm sure Brian Kelly and all of his staff tried to drill it into their team's head, a wounded Texas A&M team with no bowl outlook and a losing season, and LSU being their Super Bowl, it was all there for them. HN back off injured after being missing for weeks, and as well as some other players. They had a great game plan. They took it to LSU, and a scoop and score, a fumble caused by a Covington football player by the name of Edgerrin Cooper was really a momentum builder, and Brian Kelly was certainly disappointed in the game, but like he said, he's very proud of this football team, and it's been one of the more rewarding football teams in his career. And like we've been saying for weeks, look, I'm not going to put a shiny bow on this thing, but despite what happened tonight, LSU is way ahead of schedule of where they're supposed to be. Don't necessarily like the idea of a three-loss team making it to Atlanta to play for the SEC championship, but it is that kind of year in college football. 4 teams upset in the top 10 today, and LSU was one of them. So everything's turned on its ear. What LSU's bowl outlook will look like if they do as expected and lose to Georgia next week, we'll see. But overall, I still say LSU's a lot to play for. You guys, if you follow me and you watch my show each week, I've been kind of I don't want to say kicking Texas A&M while they're down, but I guess I have a little bit. And but this is what happens. And LSU's got a pretty good history of Thanksgiving games after Thanksgiving that get wacky, and this one will be one for the record books. They stormed the field with a losing record because this was their Super Bowl. So,
no doubt.
So let's bring in Preston Guy to talk about this one. What do you think, Preston?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on our midweek show. We talked about it in last week's postgame show. The ingredients were there for the upset for LSU. I think me and you both had faith that ultimately Brian Kelly was the coach who would get the guys lined up and be able to handle that. But the ingredients were there. Texas A&M is a talented team. I told y'all on the midweek show, A-Shane is no joke, y'all. That guy is a baller, and he showed off
Absolutely.
tonight.
LSU recruited him.
Yeah, I mean, he is an incredibly talented back, and the fact that he hadn't had 1,000-yard season coming into this game, that just shows how Jimbo kind of misused that team. But they're playing for it all. There's no bowl game for Texas A&M. This is it. They were playing just to spoil LSU's season, and they gave it their best shot. LSU did not. I think you really missed Bernard Converse tonight. You really missed Josh Williams. And here's a callback. On tonight, especially Jaquelin Roy's your leading tackler at that defensive tackle spot. You really missed Mason Smith, I think. And, you just got dominated in the trenches. So a lot of injuries, and it just hurts. It hurts for LSU tonight.
Well, I will say this. I thought that what Matt House, and I said it in our game chat on TigerBait, that let's see what Matt House does. I think he's going to have a solution coming out of halftime, and he did. They had 2 3-and-outs, but that Jayden Daniels getting stripped of the ball and the scoop and score, that was it. And
that turned the game.
Yeah, and one of the things that I kept saying on every show that I was on our Wednesday night show, was that LSU could really do themselves some favors if they could jump on Texas A&M early and take the lead early. And that's not what happened. They took the lead early.
Yep.
And as the game went on and they ate clock, time of possession, they did a darn good job. And absolutely not having Bernard Converse out there was a big blow. Sage Ryan had his difficulties with Muhammad. And one of them was just, a one-handed catch, which was a great play. But the second one, don't go. Look, it's all there for you. You don't have to be a coach to see what happened on the second one, where he got beat for a big play. When you go for the reception and you're going for the reception with a body catch and you're pulling your arms in like this, well, you've just shortened your arms. How much? tipped the ball away.
Yep.
Tipped the ball away.
Well,
There's
and
a
it
reason
looked
why-
like he had the pick, didn't it? Like, I think he got both
No,
hands on it.
He did. He did. There's a reason why you're a defensive back and not a wide receiver.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, Sage Ryan had a rough night. On that first one, I mean, he had good coverage on him. I just wonder,
That first one was a freak play.
Sage Ryan doesn't look like he has the length that a lot of guys out there do.
No, he's not. He's undersized. He's got some size to him, but he's undersized lengthwise. He's not tall. He doesn't have a 36, 37-inch sleeve length.
Well, that's what I was more so referring to is the sleeve length more so than the height. He doesn't have very long arms. Like we've seen the trend with corners and DBs is these long, rangy arms. It's hard to get over those guys, and I think that's where it cost him tonight. But hey, I just want to say that touchdown throw and catch, amazing throw and catch. Sometimes guys are going to have that. You got to take care of business. I mean, it's 200 yards you gave up to A-Chain. It's the problem more so than that. No one should be running for 215 on you.
All right, guys. We're 5 minutes in, and that's our opening. But, of course, this show is brought to you by attorney Kenneth P. Haines. We're going to talk about him a little bit later in the show. And as always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to fly through as many of you guys' comments. I know a lot of you guys are going to be ready to go and probably want to vent your frustrations a bit, and that's okay. We're going to let it fly tonight. But if you're enjoying the show, please do us a favor. Hit the like button. Share the show to your Facebook page, your Twitter. Text it to your friends to get involved. Very much appreciative to all you guys that do that for us each and every week. And if you're not already a subscriber to this YouTube channel, hit the subscription button and the notification bell. And those of you who are subscribers to us know that we're loading this channel up. I've got player interviews to load up as soon as the show's over with. Brian Kelly's already up. Jimbo Fisher's already up. And so we've got it all for you here on TigerBait's YouTube channel. All right, guys, let me scroll through. Jay Perhewitt, that turnover was a killer. Absolutely. Just like I discussed here. Ephraim Price, this along with the Tennessee game may have been Matt House's worst game from an adjustment standpoint.
No doubt. Let me ask you something, Mike, real quick. Before that turnover with Jayden Daniels, did it really feel like LSU was starting to get control of the game? Like, I mean, LSU had just tied it up.
I really believe, look, you never know what's going to happen in a football game.
Right.
But if there's no strip and score and LSU goes down after 2 3 and outs and scores there,
right,
I think LSU's on their way to a win.
I agree.
That was a killer.
I think LSU was driving, was going to score. They had just made 2 defensive stops, and they'd scored the drive before. They were cooking at that point. I think that was such a momentum killer and crushing that Texas A&M just did what they could, and they scored 21 unanswered, and that proved too much.
I might be going a little too far and saying that they were on their way to a win, but that's a vastly different game if there's no strip and score and LSU goes down and scores a touchdown.
I feel like that's a perfectly reasonable. You felt the win coming at that point.
Yep. And that's Matt House making adjustments.
Yeah. Right.
But look, man, their offensive line did a number on LSU. Mm-hmm. So me saying that, it looked like that's what was going to happen, doesn't mean it was going to happen. Because even if LSU would have taken the lead, then you would really say they were foolish if they would have gotten away from the running game, because what HN did tonight was fantastic. You got to give it to him.
0 sacks LSU was able to come up with tonight.
Harold Perkins was a non-factor. Stingray 26. Unfortunately, LSU choked at the worst possible time. LSU fans dumping SEC title game tickets. I don't know about that. I think people are going to go.
Yeah, enjoy your trip.
Shinobi Gavin, despite the performance tonight, I still think there is a chance LSU goes in and pulls off the upset next week. But my honest opinion, next week's game means nothing now. Definition of a choke. No, it does mean something. You're going to be SEC champs.
Yeah, no doubt.
You're going to get an SEC championship ring.
Yeah, you want to win the SEC. There's no question about that. Not to mention playing for a good bowl game. You're not in the playoffs anymore.
But what really gets interesting is if LSU wins next week and they're in the SEC championship, how do you negotiate that? If you're Greg Sankey, How do you negotiate that bowl setup?
I hate to tell you, if LSU
Because
doesn't beat Georgia, they're going to drop.
How far does LSU drop after this one? But let's say they did do something crazy and beat Georgia next week. How far would they go up? And then what are the tiebreakers and all that stuff then? I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean,
But look,
but ultimately, is a 4-loss team going to make it to New Year's Six Bowl? Probably not.
I think Cotton's starting to look more realistic, huh?
I don't know, man. I just don't know. We'll have to see what's there. I mean, you talk about a team that would have lost 2 straight games, 9-4. They'd have to get some love to make it to a New Year's
Gary
Six
Williams,
Bowl.
Jayden Daniels needs to get it together. Look, man, how many turnovers is that for him on the year? It's a
3,
bad timing
4.
for it.
It's his
It was
4th.
bad timing for it to happen. But him, as far as turnovers, and a guy who has run for as many plays as he has and thrown.
But Mike, he's not talking about just the fumble. I mean, there were some other things. He was 21 of 35 for 189. He threw the ball 35 times tonight and only got 189 yards.
Yeah, but
I checking down.
I can point to Lacey with 2 crucial drops.
on 3rd down. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't drop the ball like that on 3rd down. Absolutely not. Neighbors was good tonight, but it's more so that he wasn't checking downfield enough. By the way, Jayden Jenkins should have caught that touchdown late. That's very uncharacteristic for Jayden Jenkins, who's been Mr. Clutch all season, and just by the slightest of margins can't hang on. I think there's an argument that he wasn't going down at the time he caught it. He caught it, feet in bounds. That's it. End of play. But of course, not enough there to overturn the incomplete call.
How many times do you see running backs run into the end zone and after they take one step in the end zone, they drop the ball? How's that any different?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. The thing is that they had the replay guy, whatever, former official or whatever, talking about it on the broadcast saying,
Now, had it been ruled a touchdown initially, that wouldn't have gotten reversed either.
I just don't think it was enough to overturn it. The verbiage they used was play stands, not play confirmed, which always speaks volumes to me when they're reviewing something like that. I think if it had been ruled touchdown, it wouldn't have been enough to overturn it.
There's some people out there, and I've seen it, that there was some bad officiating tonight. I don't.
Hold up. No, I agree. There was some bad officiating.
And
I thought
Brian
that
Kelly
holding
talked
call.
about it. Yeah.
What did he talk about?
No, he wanted to go into some of that, but he caught himself because he knows, that's not why he lost that game tonight.
Oh, yeah. It's because you couldn't stop the run and you had costly turnovers and, your passing offense was not good tonight. Jayden Daniels has to take some of the heat for this because he wasn't necessarily attacking the field the way he should have. I don't think he was terrible, but it could have been better. But yeah, I think you had a PI call. They picked up that flag. That was pitiful. And then a holding call on 3rd down when Jayden Daniels scrambled out for the 1st down. They called a holding on Emory Jones, and it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that was really bad.
Really ticky.
Kindercamp, I'm just shocked that they didn't load the box and make the freshman quarterback beat them. I tell you what, that kid's got a bright future.
Yeah, he does.
I like the way he plays.
And he made some throws, but ultimately he did go 12 of 18 with 2 touchdowns on the night. But yeah, I agree. I would have loaded the box with 8, stopped A-Chain, don't let A-Chain run wild, and then make the true freshman, air it out. And if he beat you, he beat you.
Chance Babin Classic underachiever versus overachiever. Thanksgiving letdowns, and they ruined it. Let's scroll down.
They must have been eating that Thanksgiving dish that commenter kept on commenting throughout the week.
H.N. didn't have 1,000 yards before this game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Mark. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But he's been hurt how many games? How many
I'm
games
not
did
exactly
he miss?
sure.
4?
I'm not exactly sure how many games he missed, but it doesn't matter. Dude's been a beast. He should have had that
his whole career. And he's a track kid. Trevon Lawrence, do y'all think that was a touchdown in the 4th quarter? We just discussed that.
Yeah.
Shinobi Gavin, we said the ingredients were there for an Arkansas upset as well. Doesn't mean this team should allow other teams to put the ingredients together and make a meal. Arkansas almost did that, and A&M did. And A&M had a bigger home crowd, Thanksgiving, whatever you want to put it on. That scoop and score was huge.
Yeah.
Trucking with Casper, that's not what he said, Mark. I'm not okay.
He's talking about, he was defending me because he was saying I didn't. He was thinking I said he did have 1,000 yards. I was saying he didn't, and he should have.
Kenny Haines, Texas A&M did nothing special, lined up and ran zone runs off the left side all night, and that's their offensive line did a hell of a job tonight.
That might
and
sting.
LSU's defensive front did not.
That might sting more than anything, is that they weren't even that special tonight. And they just ran the ball left, right, and Les Miles you to death.
Dane Bergeron, Jayden Daniels 5 stares down his primary receiver and does not see others running wide open. Jared Schuyler, do we know what the injury status is on Josh Williams? Were they being overly cautious with him?
Well, you don't really know unless you're in that injury tent, but I'm going to say that it wasn't being overly cautious because they could have really used him tonight, and they didn't. You only have 2 running backs if he's not healthy. Trust me. If he was at all possible to play, I think they would have strapped him up and sent him out there, but they didn't.
Dane, LSU is not DBU. No, they're not. And Bernard Converse not being out there tonight was a big blow.
Big blow.
Hal Jubin with us. What a good evening, Mike and Preston. Glad to have you with us, Hal. Hal's with us almost every show. Yeah, who cares about the SEC championship now?
Come on, guys.
Win
the SEC. Are you kidding me? When does winning the SEC ever mean nothing? You're one ball game away from saying you win the SEC. All you got to do is beat, the unquestioned number 1 team in the country.
That's what this is. Look, Georgia is going to be I don't even know what the line's going to be after tonight, but it's going to be
minus 14 and a half.
16, what was it, like 15 or 16 before tonight?
I don't know.
Did they get another point or two? I don't know.
I was guessing minus 14 and a half. But it still matters. Go out there and beat Georgia. Say you won the SEC.
But there's a reason why you play the
don't
games.
Want to hang a SEC banner. There's never a spot where you're like, I don't want to win the Southeastern Conference, the toughest conference in football. Come on, y'all. By the way, there is some silver linings. We're just not there yet, guys.
It's one of those deals where it's decades from now, if LSU were to do something crazy magical next Saturday and beat Georgia, that's a story that you'll be able to tell for decades about how a ragtag LSU team in Brian Kelly's first year that had no business being in the conversation got there after laying an egg in College Station the week before and then pulled the upset of the century.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. And that whole team got rings, and here they are at halftime.
By the way, Georgia doesn't need this win. If anybody's overlooking the game next week, it's Georgia. Because Georgia, if they lose, they're still in the playoff. I could see LSU catching a sleeping Georgia. Guys, there's some positives from tonight. And yes, you lost the game. But you know what? This team has wildly overachieved.
The bad thing is that you go from a possible 10-2 season, from within a week you can go from a possible 10-2
to 9-5
to 9-4.
Yeah, wow.
Right?
Well, yeah, I was just, some people were talking about, and then if LSU loses the bowl game, all of a sudden this great season goes to 9-5. Because, you're going to play 2 games that are losable now. I think, killing them off in the bowl game at this point is a little premature. But, yeah, it's a tough game next week, no doubt. That'd be a colossal upset. But it would give me some 0-1 vibes. Remember that 0-1 team? Rohan Davey, Josh Reed, all those guys. Mm-hmm. After losing to Tennessee that year, went to the SEC championship and pulled off the win in the SEC championship. No one was unexcited about that SEC championship. I remember.
George Mott, Walker Howard is coming, and it's only going to get better. SEC championship is a goal, and LSU wasn't supposed to get this far.
Like I said, overachieved this year. Look, guys, let's. I've been very consistent with this take. This
Absolutely,
roster was
cojones.
put together with bubble gum and paper clips, and the fact that they won 9 games with this roster is incredible.
Absolutely. Big Cojones Kelly, you don't win 9 games this year with Jayden Daniels 5. Yeah, the last thing you do is be foolish about who Jayden Daniels is and how remarkable he's been for what LSU has done this year. Without him, you're not even having these.
No doubt.
I don't even want to think about what LSU's record might be without Jayden Daniels this year.
Well, it certainly didn't look like Nussmeier was ready early in the season. And you think about how big he was against Alabama and how big he was against Ole Miss. I mean, I think LSU might have won 6 or 7 games without Jayden Daniels this year.
Carl the Cat Dunn, well, this definitely stunk tonight, but LSU was picked 6th in the West, playing for the SEC. This team was put together with duct tape and super glue. I've been saying duct tapes and paper clips. Preston says bubble gum and paper clips. So, yeah, there you go. But they were picked 5th, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
It was 5th.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Big Cojones Kelly, BK doesn't lose 3 in a row. All right.
Not to mention, if LSU's not even in a New Year's Six bowl, like who are they going to be playing in the Capital One Bowl or whatever?
Prophets Among Us says Nussmeier's better than Walker Howard. Hal Jubin says no, he's not. And Prophet says you'll see.
Nussmeier today might be better than Walker Howard. Right now, today, with the more preparation they've put into him, we'll see about next year. Give those guys equal preparation, and we'll see.
Hal Jubin at Mike, are we a basketball school now? Sorry, I had to. Let's see what Matt McMahon's got. That's going to be a work in progress. I think there's some missing stuff there.
Well, he was talking about women's basketball.
I'm already calling my shot on the women's team in Milwaukee. They're going to beat South Carolina and Columbia.
Can't wait to send that coach home crying, man. Her comment last year. Maybe Nikki would still be here, huh?
Sage Ryan never lived up to the hype. Yeah. Dane Bergeron with the super chat. Thank you, Dane. I appreciate everything Jayden Daniels has done this year. If he comes back, there are some deficiencies he has to fix. And Dane, even knowing that there's some deficiencies there, and you would like him to be, have all the throws and be able to hit all the routes and the intermediate and the middle of the field and all that stuff, and the drop in the bucket and the fade pattern and all that stuff over the shoulder pass. He's still a great college quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, here's my thing. I don't know that he necessarily is going to fix those deficiencies if he comes back, but maybe he can improve upon his strengths and make some better decisions and improve as a quarterback overall. I don't see him being able to, drop it in the bucket, like Steph Curry with these arch throws. There's just certain throws he's not great at. And I think he is what he is. And, you got to hope he does come back next year. Because, look, I was looking at what you're bringing back with this team, and particularly this offense. On offense, you bring back almost everybody. You could have a very good offense next year if you get all your guys back.
Call me Larry, great college quarterback. Yeah, I think he is. What do we put in the great category? I'm not.
I'm pretty open to that. I mean, if people are putting Heisman odds on you, sure, that's great.
I mean, where would you rate him of SEC quarterbacks?
Top 5.
Top.
I mean, is he better than Stetson Bennett? We'll have to see next week. Is he better than Bryce Young?
Is he 3rd or 4th?
Do you think he's better than Will Rogers at Mississippi State? That's a question. Thing is, the SEC has this really high peck of quarterbacks who are all pretty good. Is he better than Hendon Hooker?
A great college quarterback doesn't mean that it's a first-round draft pick. That's not what it is. It's like who was the little quarterback from Zachary that's lighting it up this year as last year?
Lindsey Scott.
Lindsey Scott. He was a great high school quarterback, right? Mm-hmm.
Just didn't project at NFL at the next level.
Yeah, but he's doing it where he's at now.
Well, I think too many people are, because you struggle at the next level, too willing to bash you. Like was
Just
Tim
'cause Tim
Tebow not
Tebow-
good in college?
He was a great college quarterback.
Yeah, one of the greatest of all time.
Danny Werfel was a great college quarterback.
Josh White at Oklahoma, remember him? He won the Heisman Trophy. Nothing in the NFL.
What they do in the NFL doesn't mean anything. Or what you think they might or might not do there.
I think Jayden Daniels gets a lot of hate because what he does looks unorthodox. And there's just certain throws that aren't in his repertoire, right? And because of that, a lot of people tend to hate on him and call him a running back. But, the numbers don't lie. He's been a legitimate quarterback all year long.
Stingray 26, guys, can you imagine what Kelly can do with this type of talent? If he took this team to the SEC championship game, look out SEC West. They're going to build it up, man. And the transfer portal is still going to be a necessary component of what they're doing. So, but guys,
how necessary? Before we move into that, before we move to the sponsor, you say transfer portal is necessary.
Yeah, there's going to need some
5 or 6 guys, or are we talking 12 again? Like I'm just trying to pick your brain.
No, not 12, but 5 or 6.
I was thinking 3 or 4. That was my thoughts. Because, outside of defensive back, you bring back a ton of guys and a ton of spots.
Depending on what Jayden Daniels does, I think you're going to need a transfer quarterback because you don't want a redshirt freshman quarterback and a, depending on what Nussmeier would do, and a true freshman is being your only two. I think you get a running back in the portal, possibly a tight end.
DBs? Are you just going to go to...
Maybe a defensive lineman, maybe a corner. Mm-hmm. Depending on who arrives there. Yeah.
And maybe that's just like the future for LSU. Maybe you just take 5 or 6 transfers every year because it's there now.
And by the way, you're not even thinking about, is there a chance that there's a current LSU player that is a big component of this current team that all of a sudden gets an NIL deal somewhere, and now you're having to go to portal for one more than you're counting for?
Maybe so.
This is about to get wild.
The idea, though, is that Brian Kelly comes in and fixes these roster issues that LSU has been plagued with for 15 years. Just stop losing these guys to transfers and, quite frankly, going to the NFL early when you had no business entering the draft as a 6th-round pick. Get those guys on campus. If you can't do that, next year's never going to look great if you can't get the guys who should be on your campus to stay.
All right, guys, it's that time of the show. We're going to hear from our major sponsor, attorney Kenneth P. Haines.
Board-certified family law specialist Kenneth P. Haines is a highly skilled and experienced trial and appeal attorney with over 33 years of experience solving real legal problems for real people, specializing in all aspects of family law, divorce, support, custody, and property. Your standards are high, so are ours. For representation in Northwest Louisiana, call attorney Kenny Haines at 318-222-2100.
And, of course, Kenny is the unofficial official attorney of TigerBait.com. He reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. And absolutely give him a call if you need any legal services in Northwest Louisiana. He's the best and loads of experience. And he's a big LSU fan. He was in the chat earlier in the show. Dane Bergeron with a super chat. I was mainly referring to his decision making. It had nothing to do with his throwing motion or throws. He could go from good to great. I would like to know each week. He does, and he'll do it in spots in games where, look at some of the times where he's back there, and it seems like he's got like 10 or 12 seconds. So at no point during that was there a receiver that flashed open and he wasn't ready to uncork it. And I wonder if things like that would get better if he were to come back, being able to work with his receivers and know them better. And those guys knowing, hey, this is broken down. I need to come back to him, that's just from reps and your receivers being on the same page with you.
I agree. And you're probably going to lose your 2 leading receivers this year. I say that. You're going to lose Jere Jenkins, who's been big for you. I don't think he's top of the box score or anything like that. But you're also going to lose Kayshon Boutte in all likelihood. So other than that, though, you've got a lot of receivers coming back.
Wesley Blaylock, I think JD will return. The losses at the beginning of the season were almost completely on his shoulders. Plus, Brian Kelly is the best coach in NCAA, so where else would he go? Well, he would go pro.
Yeah, he'd go to the NFL.
But again, this is where it gets tricky. What is his grade? Is he a 4th or 5th round pick? Well, that's what, $600,000-$700,000.
I talked to Mike Detillier a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me he's about a 3rd or 4th rounder. And I feel like that's kind of in that borderline spot. A lot of guys, if they say I'm a 3rd rounder, I'm gonna go.
If he's a 3rd round, if he knows for sure he's going a 3rd rounder, I don't know how you come back, because I don't know with what he does and what his limitations are, and at the age that he is. Remember, he's played 4 years of college football now. Is there any chance that he's all of a sudden a 1st or 2nd rounder? I think he is what he is.
Let me tell you this.
I think he is what he is at this age.
Brian Kelly needs to be getting in his ear early and often, telling him, look, man, come back and let's be a 1st round draft pick. You come back, you're going to be a Heisman, favorite, front runner, whatever it may be. It's probably going to be Caleb Williams who wins it this year, and then will be the favorite for next year, but he'll be up there. Win a national championship, get your name out there. We're going to make you into a 1st round draft pick. Come back. All this criticism we're showing about, there's certain throws he can't make. His mechanics are unorthodox and he's not going to be able to improve those and make himself into a 1st round draft pick. All that chatter that we're doing, there's 0% chance that's in his head. Brian Kelly, on the other hand, needs to get in his head and say, yes, we can craft you into a 1st rounder. You're pretty close. You were very good this year. Stay for 1 more year and let's do something special. That's the angle you need to be taking. You need to be keeping guys like that. You really do. If you want to build this program into what you're trying to build it into, which is a championship program, it's built on the heels of experienced players.
Detillier saying 3rd round. That's the highest I've heard, though. I've heard mostly 4th and 5th.
Well, he said, 3rd, 4th round, mid-round guy is what he was saying. He wasn't saying, 3rd.
4th or 5th, you can come up with a package to match with NIL money. With the NFL.
That's what I've been kind of chattering around. Look, he did not tell me a 3rd round grade. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying he said 3rd, 4th, mid-round kind of guy is what he was saying.
And I'm not taking a shot at Detillier, but there have been times where he's given LSU guys a little bit higher rate than they actually ended up with. Brandon Reese, if most of the roster comes back to go along with the top 4 recruiting class, this roster should be more loaded at every position.
That's kind of what we're hitting on. The only position group that could be problematic is DB. You're going to lose at DB. You're going to lose Jarek Bernard-Converse. Sevyn Banks is a senior, but he should get a medical red shirt, so I expect he could be back. Colby Richardson, Greg Brooks, Joe Fouché, Todd Harris, Jay Ward, all those guys are seniors. Maybe 1 or 2 of them argues a COVID year or whatever else. But that's a lot of hits you're poised to take at DB. So you really could get over, bring in Taviano and bring in Desmond Ricks and push those guys for some early play time.
Sonic Blast 504, LSU's running backs are hot garbage. That whole room needs to be rebuilt, and it's going to be rebuilt. Caleb Jackson, Trey Holly. I think there's going to be a transfer portal signee in there sometime in the spring.
You have to. I mean, you cannot really run an offense with just 2 scholarship backs. That's a joke. And I was telling y'all before the season there was not much room. 4 wasn't enough.
Boxing basics. I agree the vertical passing game did not exist for most of the year. Take a cue from Michigan. You need a quarterback that can make plays in the pocket.
Well, your best bet is to develop Walker Howard. Is he going to be ready next year or the year after that to lead that offense?
James Martin, good college quarterback. No way he will play in the NFL. The window to throw is very small compared to the window against college. And that's a good point.
I tend to agree.
There are some NFL coaches that are going to love his wheels.
Well, think about this. If you're Lamar Jackson, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, right? Isn't he a pretty good guy to bring in as your backup quarterback? Couldn't he kind of just run that offense as normal? Kyler Murray at the Cardinals, he has the skill sets Kyler Murray has. I could see some guys, and not to mention the fact that he could be a weapon outside a quarterback. Think, Taysom Hill or something like that.
Trevor Duce, offense played like crap and the defense played like crap. No excuse for LSU to lose this game. All the warning signs were there, Trevor. It's a disappointing, humbling, whatever adjectives you want to use. Knew it could happen, regardless of A&M and
the silver
consecutive
lining
losses
is
and this and that.
you went into your season finale after being just decimated. Your roster
Look,
was
LSU had
nuked
no
and
business
blown up.
beating. LSU had no business beating Texas A&M last year.
You went into your final game of the regular season squarely in the playoff conversation, y'all. You had 39 players on scholarship for that bowl game. That is the hot, steaming garbage plate Brian Kelly was handed. 39 scholarship players. Have fun. Make it work. He said, all right, I'm going to take a bunch of players with injury issues or accuracy issues or fumbling issues or whatever else, and I'm going to put it together, and they're going to be talking about us in the playoffs. What is today? November 26th, y'all, and LSU was in the playoff conversation. That is spectacular.
Titus Jackson, house defense allowed 275 yards on the ground. Jeez. I like that camera with the tracking software. You noticing that?
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Oh, you're bougie, huh? See, if I just go off, I go off.
Yeah, man.
Although that would make it really hard to sneak away offset to like grab a cookie or something if you ever needed to walk away. It'd follow you all the way into your kitchen.
Brandon Reese, Brad Davis, and Mark Kane will load up on the line of scrimmages. Yeah. This is going to be a crazy 3 weeks coming up. What's going to be happening in recruiting. If you're a fan of recruiting, there might be some 24-hour periods where you're ready to pull your hair out. Tasha Tiger, disappointing with the running back position. Glad to have you with us, Tasha.
I mean, I don't know that it's a disappointment. I mean, we knew coming into the season what you were going to have. You didn't have the depth. You didn't, straight up. And Josh Williams has been an outstanding surprise this season, how good he's been. And, that it just is what it is. I mean, he couldn't bring in guys to fulfill that running back room. He did the best he could, brought in 2 transfer portal guys and developed a former walk-on, and that's what you had.
Brandon Reese brings up another position. I'm interested to see what the linebacker room will look like after the season. Absolutely. That's another position that's got to get rebuilt. You're excited about Harold Perkins, although he wasn't a factor tonight. That position needs some new faces injected.
Well, I think the only guy you're doomed and determined to lose is going to be Baskerville. You could bring back Mike Jones. He's listed as a junior. You will have to see, man. I mean, Greg Penn is a sophomore.
I don't know what and Penn has had his moments. I mean, he played very well last week. But
Desmond Little could be back next year. Maybe he has an impact. I mean, DeMario Tolan has kind of looked good here of late. What does West Weeks do when he gets this thing going? I mean, I think that the one position group you're really concerned. I think linebacker will be just fine next year, guys. I really do. I think the one position group you're truly worried about is your defensive backfield.
Guys, hit that like button, please. If you're enjoying the show, help us with the YouTube algorithm. You guys have been great at helping us with that each and every week. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and please share the show. Hit that share button. Share it to your Facebook, your Twitter feed. Text it to friends. I know we get a lot of views on Sundays. A lot of guys probably wanted to smash the TV and went to bed early, and then they'll watch it on Sunday after they've cooled off a bit. But hit that like button either way. Very much appreciative for when you guys do that. Dane Bergeron asked Preston, LSU need to eat oyster dressing for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's all they needed, Dane. Let's let A-Shane gash him for 215 yards and puke up oysters on the sideline.
Brandon Reese, Baskerville, and Ojulari will be gone after the season.
Ojulari should be gone.
Saw a good bit of Savion Jones tonight. Quincy Wiggins, I'm hearing real good things about what he's been doing in the weight room and all season with a red shirt. So, and there's going to be some others coming. So, there it is. HN murdered us. He absolutely did. He had a whale of a game. And speed, moves, and he really did give A&M a lift. No doubt about it.
Looking like a train tonight.
Yeah, you got to give A&M credit and him. And but they were basic, and they went right at LSU. And, there was multiple guys on that defensive front that, McKinley Jackson. I went and filmed him myself.
Oh, yeah, that's another guy LSU wanted really badly. I heard that name.
Yep, and that was a deal where I think LSU really wanted him. But, you had two Louisiana kids. You had Jacoby and Jaqueline in that same class. And so you took the Louisiana kids. I think you should have taken all three if you could have gotten him. Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Was there an O-line tonight? They had their moments, but they also had a lot of struggles. I think the wide receivers were let down tonight.
They definitely were. Kyron Lacey had two nasty
how many
drops.
plays
Jeray
did you
Jenkins
see,
with his
Brian?
drop.
How many plays did you see Brian Thomas in there tonight?
He had a catch. Not sure I really noticed him outside of that. I noticed
where
Jack
is he
Besh
at?
was out there.
What is Thomas's health, though? That's, I don't think he's anywhere near 100%.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And look, we didn't watch the full game film, guys. We're assuming that Jayden Daniels was just holding on to the ball and not getting into his receivers open downfield. We don't really know that. We don't see. I didn't see a bunch of receivers running wide open out there either.
Jack Besh is very good on the slant, but when you've got him 30 yards downfield, he's
not his.
He's not going to get separation down there.
The O-line was actually okay.
Lacey was a guy that you got it in the portal, but he had a history of drops at ULL.
Yeah, he did. And in the spring game, he was really bad with drops. So we kind of had that, we were honed in on that issue. Word noted, LSU did run the ball for 187 yards tonight and only gave up one sack. I'm not necessarily sure the offensive line was your biggest problem.
I thought Emory had his moments. Look,
he did.
Look, part of it is necessity. They have to utilize them, but just because the running back room is what it is.
Noah Kane had two good grabs at running back. He had two good catches, and he had his moments. Although he had an ugly fumble, LSU recovered. You got to be concerned because you got two backs who have fumbled 4 times in the last 3 weeks. That's not good. That's not good at all. That's not a recipe to win SEC championships. Only 2 scholarship backs with fumbling issues.
A&M was making great catches and tackling very well. Yes, they were. And Bernard Converse was highly missed. There you go. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks to all you guys tuning in. Kelly's post game's up. Jimbo Fisher's post game's up. I got a couple LSU players I'm about to upload as soon as they end the show. Brian Lazar's instant analysis is up. Preston's story is up on the website. We've got an analysis feature on LSU men's basketball that Brian put up earlier today. So we're absolutely loaded at TigerBait, and we're going to be working the phones nonstop in recruiting. LSU got a commitment earlier today, first one for the class of 2025. That story is on the front page of TigerBait. And I've got video from playoff games last night. They're going to be getting loaded at TigerBait. So if you're not a premium subscriber, go check us out for $1 for 1 week. And like I always tell you guys, choose the annual package. Also on the front page of TigerBait, you'll see Santa Claus on one of the images. That's for gift cards. The easiest gift ever. You got an LSU fan in your life, or you want to give yourself a Christmas gift, you can get a TigerBait digital gift card or subscribe. We'd like to have you as a part of our TigerBait community. You get our text alerts, newsletters, all our premium content, and we're on the message boards day and night. So I'd like to have a bunch of you guys as subscribers to TigerBait. Preston, thanks for being a part of the show as always on the post game. And Preston will be on Tuesday night. Not sure your guest yet.
Well, I'm talking to Aaron Murray. I'm going to see if I can get him free Tuesday night. That's a former Georgia quarterback, now does Sirius Radio.
Good.
Yeah, he's good. I really like talking to Aaron. Just had a baby too.
He's very good. All right, guys, and I'll be back Wednesday. I'm not sure if Buddy's going to join me. I know he's ready to saying he's got some things to do in December, but I'll see if I can get him. All right, guys, good night, and we'll be venting on the Tiger Den message board. There's going to be a bunch of threads there as well.
Appreciate
right,
y'all. See y'all Tuesday night.